questions for me on page 147, 148? Yeah. 5 and 11? Cool. Number 5. Predict the response variable, so the y variable, if the explanatory is 70. So what you're going to do on that one, you have your line of best fit. You have 70 like right here. So what you're basically doing is you're going up to the line of best fit, and then you're bringing it over here. And so in this case, it looks like it's going to be about 40. Okay. And let's see. And then explain what it means. It would mean that if we had a temperature that was 70 degrees, we would predict that we would have a bill of $40, something like that. And then you said 11 as well? Okay. Explain what those observations, if they exist, have in the context of the question. Okay, so it goes along with number 10. Number 10 says, how many observations are on the regression line? And so for number 10, you're looking at this, and it looks like you might have 2 of them. You might have 2. One looks like this is at about 65, 40. And this one looks like it's at about 78, 37-ish. So you have 2 of them. So you have 2 that are above or on the regression line. So those observations mean that the bill was exactly what we expected. Okay, and you expect it's coming off of the line of best fit. What other questions did you see? Number 4. So this is number 4. It's pretty broad. First off, I'm looking for if it's negative. Now I'm going to give you a range of where you should be. So it's negative between 0.4 to 0.7, somewhere in there. There's no real exact way unless you had done it on the calculator if you knew what the points were. But I would say it's between 0.4 and 0.7 roughly, and they're both negative. I mean, I'm going to give it an awful lot of leeway on that kind of situation on a quiz. I mean, the main thing I'm looking for is, did you get the negative? And then go from there and be like, you know, if you give me like it's negative 0.0005, I think you're off a little bit. And we have to talk about estimation, but for the most part, it's pretty good leeway. Okay. Anything else I could help you with on here? Does this all make sense? Making good? So other things I know that might have come across as questions is like on 17 and 18. So and this is on the back page, it says, assuming you own the baseball team, would you rather the team be above the regression line or below? So basically they have, you know, something like this, and you have dots on top and on bottom. I would rather them to be on top. And the reason I would want that on top is you're getting more wins than you would have expected, okay, which is kind of cool. And then 18, what does the scatter plot say about this subject? What features in the scatter plot look to the side? It looks like the higher your payroll, you would get more wins. That doesn't seem to apply with the Broncos these days, does it? Yeah, we're paying an ungodly amount of money for someone to ride the bench. He got a boo-boo. So, yeah, so those are a few things that we're looking at. Let's see. Okay. All right. So my friends, what I would like to do is I have planned, today is Tuesday. So Tuesday, we're going to start the review. Wednesday, we're going to really go over the review. And then Thursday, we're going to have a quiz on 2.4 to 2.6. Okay? And a reminder, what do we get to use on these tests? Desmos, half sheet, front and back half sheet, right? Okay, so whatever you want to throw on that half sheet. So what I'd like to do is, why don't I give you, let's give you about 10 minutes to get a start on pages 149 to 151. And in about 10 minutes, we'll start going over some of the answers. We will, between today and tomorrow, have gone over 100% of this worksheet. Okay? Sound like a plan? And then we'll have the quiz on Thursday. Quiz is worth 19 points total. And again, you had the opportunity to come in and get half your points back. Hey, when can you get your when's the last day I would like you to come in for go over any of the quizzes that was before fall break? Friday of next week. Does that make sense? Everyone get that? Okay. But that would not include this one, because this is after fall break. You following my madness? All right, so let me pause there. All right. So, friends, a couple of you asked, how can I find the correlation? Well, friends, this is where our buddy and pal Desmos jumps in. Okay, which I think you guys are starting to realize it is a relatively useful tool. So my X values will be gross domestic product, and my inflation rate will be my Y. Table 17.9. Do you all feel comfortable with Desmos? Yeah. Okay. Again, if you get stuck on Desmos when we're on the test or quiz, you can always ask me. It's not. .7, 2.3, 4.5, 3, 5.9, 1.8, 2.2, 5.3, 2.1, 2.5, and 4.1. All right, so just kind of looking at our data. There seemed to be one that is a point that's obscure on our data. Let's darken it for you. Oh, is there some more? Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, that'll look about right. Yeah. So those three out to the right don't really, they're going to change the pitch of our line a little bit. But we go from there. So how do I find the line of best fit? What do I do under this next section? Y1, squiggly, tilde, plus B. Cool. All right, so there's our line of best fit. So those three out to the very far right definitely have changed the perspective, and that's going to affect our R value. So our correlation should be negative, and it looks like our correlation is roughly negative 0.24. So is that a good correlation? Yeah. Yeah, that's a 24% on a test. We don't ever want that, do we? But it is what it is, what our data has. So interpret the context, or the correlation in the context. So this is a weak linear relationship. Okay, something like that. Find our regression equation. Our regression equation is going to be y equals negative 0.06x plus 3.08. Okay, and also remember on these, let's go here, go back to the smartboard. So on our correlation, our equation, you might see the equation like this. They might have it as y hat equals, and a lot of times when you're dealing with this stuff, they're going to have it slightly out of order. They're going to have it slightly out of order. They put the y hat because that just basically means we're getting an equation off of our data. You certainly, if you had this, if you had a problem written like this, that is also 100% correct. Okay, like the hat, it's not necessary for your answers. I just want you to know that sometimes I might give you something that might have y hat. When you start seeing y hat, that means that was the equation that was gotten from data. Okay. So number 5 would say, and then so number 4 says, hey, predict if we have a GDP of 5.5, which means I'm going to plug that into X. So I'm going to get negative 0.065 times 5.5 plus 3.08, which is going to come out to about 2.7% roughly. Okay. We're on 149.
I know. It's right here.
Just sit up in the comfy chairs.
Yeah.
Those are good chairs. All right, and then number 5, do we trust their predictions? What do you think? Do we trust the predictions based on this model? Yes or no? Would you trust the predictions, or would you think having this kind of correlation is not trustworthy? You got a 24% on a test. Do I trust that you'll know the content? No. 24% is pretty cruddy, right? So there's going to be a certain pivotal part where I would probably say we would trust it. But number 5 is I'm not going to trust. No trust, because we have a weak correlation. Okay. That helped. And we have a so today and tomorrow we're just doing the review, and then we'll have a quiz on.
I'll stay after.
Cool.
So cover it.
Cool. Let's see. Number 6, interpret the slope of our line. Well, our slope is negative 0.065 is our slope. Okay, which means as inflation drops at negative 0.065, or you could say, or no, let's see. As inflation drops negative 0.065, we increase our GDP by 1 trillion. Okay. And then number 7, find and interpret the y-intercept. So the y-intercept on our problem is going to be 3.08. So that means at 0 gross domestic product, we have 3.08% inflation. Okay? And that kind of goes with it. All right, so my friends, I want to give you the rest of the time to just continue working on those pages. So what we'll do, so by the end of tomorrow, so we have page 149, which is done. Page 150 and 151 will go over tomorrow. So I'd say have most of that done so you can get the points for tomorrow. And then make sure also you're getting your half sheet, because this quiz will be on 2-4 to 2-6. And I'm just going to say that it can have stuff from 2-1 to 2-3 on it. Cool? So you know what to work on?
Yeah.
Yeehaw.